Oh, the Brotherhood. So this is a game from a very different era. When I read the BGG indications, it says 72 it was invented. This is the second edition from GGW. GGW wasn't around in 72, but John Hill was. And I'm not sure whether it was actually published or just was kicking around in some other form. There isn't a lot of notes on here. And any kind of historical notes would be silly in something like this. Because this is not some kind of simulation or something. This isn't really a study of gang warfare. Which would be an interesting topic. This is a type of game, though, that people sometimes say, oh, wow, you only like that because you're nostalgic about it. Well, I've never played this one before, and I like it. So that kind of partially disproves it, except that I'm nostalgic for this type of game. These nice, easy games that don't try to be over-designed. They don't try to provide some kind of inherent good experience where everybody has, a certain path to follow. They don't try to, as the later Euros do, overwhelm the initial grasp of the game with just so many different paths that, it takes time to figure out, well, what do I need to even do? What things could I do to win? What do I need to... That level of, I don't understand, even what I'm kind of trying to aim towards in the game is really disturbing about some of the more modern stuff that started coming out about when I got back into gaming. And I don't know if it's gotten more popular or not. I'm a little disconnected from... Well, I'm almost completely disconnected from BGG and from any kind of Eurogaming or any of that because nobody comes over to the game box. Except war gamers for the most part. We'll play some Euros, but not that many. Okay. So, why does this kind of work for me? It's because it's this very light framework for a diplomacy and economic model. It doesn't really... it allows the players to just bring it to the game. They're coming in here and it says, you know what? If you play a game that allows for diplomacy and for diplomatic maneuvering, you really don't need a whole hell of a lot more. Because as long as you give them a fair framework to play in for that, they will work out the balance issues and the this and the that. And the light economic system, the easy, buckets of dice combat, all this fits in well with it. It leaves luck in there. It's not like, the game itself, diplomacy. But diplomacy proves the point here that if you allow people to negotiate enough, you don't need a whole hell of a lot of game there. Well, this is of that same nature, even if it is more of an Ameritrash type experience in the classic sense, not in the hybrid sense of like Twilight Imperium 3, where you get to chuck lots of dice, shoot things down, and cut deals however and in whatever way you like. And in a sense, the rules are almost fairly a minor issue in the game. You could expand them, you could misinterpret them a little bit as a group, and it's just not going to be a big deal. You're still going to get a good, fun play experience. Probably one where the players, if they're prone to it, will trash talk, you'll have joking, you'll have this, that, and the other, and I'm not sure the game would be as good without that in a imagine people playing something like this thinking really seriously about each other. For me, I get a nice little story for not a lot of expense, and that's important to me in the solo side of things. I like games that give me, a picture of what's going on without me having to put a whole hell of a lot of effort into sorting the counters, reading the rules, and actually the playing. Not to say I don't like those games, I love them, but sometimes I just need something that is a quick little play that'll give me that same storyline experience. So I would see this as the sort of light filler of its era. This is, and you could put some of the 3M games in the same category. This is something, you know, when you've played a heavy game and maybe some guys are out running out to get lunch, or at the end of the night, you know, it's time to break something light and easy out, because we'll play a game and then maybe somebody has to go home, or maybe it's time for us all to leave, or maybe we got room for yet another one because that was just so damn much fun, we got to get something else in. Naval War kind of fits in the same sort of way, although there's not as much good game in Naval War. This actually is a pretty decent game. Component-wise, well, the cards, they're sufficient, but I mean, they came on a sheet, you ripped them out, there were very few of them, so there's not a lot of randomness. That's going to be kind of annoying, except that, you know, it's not, in the sense of replay value, not having many cards, but it randomizes where it happens. It doesn't, the cards aren't all that different from each other there. That area gets boned in some way. The counters, there's a sort of, I don't know what to say, it feels almost like, I don't know, it's the big size and the kind of childish representation of the drawing on it, I guess. It just doesn't really grasp me very well, but it also is hard to kind of distinguish things, especially when sorting. The piles of money are hard to see. Crap on the back of my thing, I don't think I put it there, but I'm not sure. The map, again, colored pencil drawing, it serves, you know. This reminds me of Psychology Today's The Cities game in terms of kind of the representation of it, although that had a different view. But, you know, it holds the places, the boxes. The little rate charts, that's really cool. The idea is kind of like 3M stocks and bonds, or Acquire giving you a little chart that gives you what the different values are. I really like things like this. As, you know, simple, it conveys all the information, and giving everybody one makes it easier for them to plan. The ledger sheet, as I showed, I don't need that, but it gives you an idea, especially for newer players of the game, of what they need to, you know, be paying attention to. And then there's a stock version, which, you know, it looks to me like they gave you sheets on a pad and the stock version so that you could photocopy the stock version when you run out of sheets in the pad. Boy, that blows away the 3M Avalon Hill model, where they just give you the sheets of the pad. I don't know if it's necessary, though. You know, if you have sheets on a pad, you can photocopy them. All right. It's just you're more likely to write on the last sheet, probably. Overall, I would say this is a pretty cool game. Fills a nice little space in a gaming session with a little bit of fun and stuff. It's a little lighter than, say, Wabbit Rampage, which I would put in kind of the same kind of category, but provides the same kind of amusement side. I like the cleanness of it. That's probably one of the biggest factors in favor of it. You know, and if you feel like the person who added the sheet of paper with a few mods for the game, if you feel like it doesn't quite handle things well, you know what? It's not a simulation, so you can feel free to modify it. And the rules are simple, and there isn't a lot there that's possibly hidden interactions that you're not sure if you're kind of violating the design principle. The design principle was just put something out there that'll work for people, that'll be fun. And it could easily go through more iterations and changes, and I could see people adding and changing different things fairly easily. It's not like you're going to try to make, you know, let's turn this into, you know, some kind of monster huge thing. No, about the worst you could probably do is turn it into Junta, you know, just expand it to that size. Maybe make that meeting in Detroit mean something. Maybe extend the game, figure out a way to extend the game by giving back some pieces each year or whatever, so that it plays over several years and becomes a big campaign or something. There's a lot of room for all of that here, and I can see, I could see making changes to this and expanding it quite a bit. I'm kind of surprised that Frank Chadwick didn't expand it somewhat. He tends to like to add to games, but yeah, there you have it.